In the last few lessons, we've been working with tables and even an Excel worksheet or spreadsheet to display data on a slide in a presentation. Well, another way to display data is in a graphical format, such as a chart or a graph. And that's what we're going to look at next, is inserting charts into a presentation. There's a couple of different ways to do this, and then there's a ton of choice when it comes to picking the right graph or the right chart. So let's talk about the different ways first to get them in there, and then later we'll look at modifying, formatting, editing those charts that we insert into our presentation. So here I'm still working on the presentation we used in the last lesson, eCake 8C. Following along, no problem. We're going to continue from here. If you've jumped to this lesson, go to the Office button, go to Open. In the Lesson 8 folder of your exercise files, open up eCake 8D. That's the one you want to select before you click Open. Now we're going to slide down the left-hand pane here, and we're going to click on Slide 8. Alright, you're all caught up. So let's look at the two different ways we can insert charts into a presentation. One is to simply go to the Insert tab and choose Chart. Now, if I was to click Chart here, I'd see a number of options, and then my chart would be inserted right here on this slide. So let's do that with Click Chart. You can see the Insert Chart dialog offers up tons of choice. We've got column, line, pie, bar, area, all the way down here to radar. We could spend hours trying the different charts and graphs that you see here listed. Now over here, because I'm looking at column at the top, that's what I'm seeing here, and there's different kinds of columns. We've got bars, stacked, we've got 3D, cylinders, cones, and then we get into the line section. And if I use my scroll bar, you can see I can scroll down through the different groups. Well, another way to scroll through the groups is to go directly to a section by clicking it over here on the left. So if I'm interested in bubble charts, I click on bubble, and I see I've got two choices here. If I want to go back to pie, I can click pie right here. So I'd select the pie that I want. If I was to click OK, like I said, that chart would show up right here on my current slide. Well, I don't really want that, so I'm going to hit Cancel. I'd rather my chart show up on a new slide. So I can go up to the Home tab here, click New Slide. The bottom half of this button gives me an option, and I can choose something like Title and Content or Comparison or To Content. Anything with content is going to give me an icon for inserting a chart. So I'm going to go to Title and Content, click here. My title at the top is going to be the word Sales. So type that in. And now down below, I want to make sure that I go to the chart icon to insert a chart. So I don't want any of these other options. I don't want text. I want to insert a chart. So I click here, and you can see I get the same dialog I just saw a moment ago. Alright, so we know that we've got lots to choose from here, some of them in 3D. Let's go to pie. So we'll click on pie over here, and you can see I've got, looks like 6 options. One's your standard pie, one looks like it's in 3D. Here's another option where you've got a pie in a pie, or pie of pie they call it. If I want to explode out pieces, I can go here to exploded pie, same thing, a 3D version of that. And then I've got a bar and a pie on one slide. So I'm going to go back here to the 3D just to be kind of cool with my pie in 3D. We'll click that and click OK. Now watch what happens. Because every chart or graph is going to need some data, my screen splits in two where I've got PowerPoint on the left and I've actually got Excel over here on the right. Because my Excel data is over here on the right, I'm seeing the actual results over here on the left. Now I've also got a title here over column B, and you can see it's showing up here. But I've already got my title on the slide, so we'll worry about that later. If we were to come in here and hit delete, we would delete the word sales, but we'd still have the column 1 header. And that's what I see over here. So we need to take it out later over here on our chart. Now we've got some sample data. And if we wanted to use more data, we could just by clicking and dragging the border. We'd have column 2 as well, but this is a pie chart, so this makes sense right here. Alright, instead of quarters, what we're going to do is put in areas of sales. So we're going to type in baked goods. We'll move down to the next cell, and in there we'll type in utensils. Then we'll type in cookware. And then we'll type ingredients. Okay, we'll make up some numbers. So the numbers could be in thousands of dollars, hundreds, it's up to us. That'll be the legend that we work with a little bit later on. So let's just put in some values here. Baked goods, we'll say that makes up 52. Let's say it's in thousands. Utensils, we'll put in 12. Cookware, 23. Ingredients, 40. So it really doesn't matter what we put in there as long as we've got some data. When we're done entering the data, and you can see it's changing my pie chart over here, we simply close the Microsoft Excel window. So we close that up, and we're left with PowerPoint, and there's our end result, our pie chart. Now I don't want that title, so I can click right on it. It's the chart title, hit delete on my keyboard, and everything adjusts within that space. So I've got my 3D pie chart. You can see I've got my legend over here. And you can see as I hover over the different pieces of pie, not only do I see the value, but the percent that makes up. So this value is set to 40, and it represents 31% of the entire pie. What I don't see is those actual values without hovering over them. So there's lots of options now. Now that we've inserted our chart, we could go into chart styles, the layout, adjust that. If we wanted to edit the data, we could. If we wanted to spice this up with some labels and so on, we could do that too. Look up here on the ribbon. Chart Tools actually covers 3 tabs: a Design tab, a Layout tab, and a Format tab. So we'll look at all of that in the next lesson, but now you know how to get your chart in there. Let's add another new slide. So we'll go to the Home tab, and we'll click New Slide. We'll do Title and Content again. And up here, let's just type in something different, like inventory. And down below, we'll choose chart again, so we'll insert a chart, but this time we'll do something different. Let's do column means we've got vertical bars, bar means horizontal. I like column, and I like the 3D effects over here. So we'll choose 3D clustered column and click OK. So again, we get our worksheet over here on the right. You can see the sample data is shown in the actual chart over here. When I'm done manipulating my data, I close Microsoft Excel to see my new chart. So inserting a chart's pretty easy, no problem there. What we're going to do next in the next lesson is modify our chart and our chart data.